Hi everyone, Jamie here. Just wanted to give you guys a quick briefing about the episode that is to come. Firstly, I do apologise for the audio levels. My microphone settings didn't click in properly for the recording, hence the echoey sound coming from my microphone. I also have to apologise for the lack of a second quotation mark in Zoe's gamer tag. So if anyone has OCD or any sense of flow, I do apologise. I am currently getting ready to move, so the setup and the planning time is a little bit strict and not where I would normally like it to be. So again, I do apologise. But regardless, this episode with Zoe is a great one, and I hope you all enjoy our discussions of the current state of modern warfare and insight into Zoe's career and some issues surrounding mental health in gaming. Lastly, I just wanted to wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and I'll see you all in 2020. Enjoy!
They sing on a sleepless night. Try to catch me howling at the moon. Try to catch me howling at the moon. Try to catch me howling at the moon.
Hello everyone, welcome to episode 4 of the Alpha Podcast. Today my guest is Zoe, or Chi as you're better known. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm getting there. Like I said before we started, just trying to plod along to the end of the year, to be honest. It's been a grind, but
Oh yeah,
I suppose we'll get there. What about yourself?
work.
Work?
Yep, that's literally it.
Pretty much it?
Yep.
Well, first of all, why don't you just introduce yourself, who you are, what you do, go from there.
Okay. I'm Chi. Or Zoe. I am a full-time nurse, part-time nerd, streamer, gamer, whatever I feel like at the time. Yeah. Where do I start?
Where
Is
do
that
you
where?
start? Yeah, well, I guess...
Where did I start?
Where did you start? Yeah, well, actually, so... Started off just by where did the love of gaming come in? Like, in for you. So where did the love of gaming start for you? And I suppose we can just go from there. Tell me the story and how the love of gaming started for Chi.
Origins. Okay. I started gaming back Halo 3/Reach days. I was in high school. My parents were like, you're not getting an Xbox till you graduate. So that was still back in those days. So I literally just started playing online, and one of my friends from high school slowly introduced me to sort of competitive gaming, and played a few local LANs and online LANs and events. Mostly does play back then, I think it was.
Was that on Halo 3?
It was more towards Halo 4. So
Halo 4,
I was
okay.
casual up until Halo 4. And not long after that, I sort of started playing Black Ops 2. Because Halo was dying off and it was just not as enjoyable. So
Yep.
Black Ops 2 Ghost is sort of when I was introduced into the Twitter community. Regrettably. It's not that bad. But yeah, no, I remember joining an all-female clan back in Black Ops 2, and we just grinded
Yeah,
league
right.
play.
Who was in that?
I honestly cannot remember. I was playing with Americans at the time, so my internet was that bad that no matter what region I played with, it didn't matter. It was just all
So just constant
bad.
200 ping.
Yeah, pretty much. So that's how. I mean, I improved. My aim got better because you have to learn to aim when
Yeah, of course.
you can't miss.
Well, it's exactly like we used to do the same thing back on COD 4. They didn't have the dedicated lobbies back on the original COD 4. You would just, whatever lobby you got put in, that was what you stuck with.
Yeah.
Like, when you're versing people from America, I get where you're coming from, 100%. So, Twitter community, cosplay, American clan, that was on Halo 4 still?
Black Ops 2
Black Ops
and
2, sorry,
Ghost.
yes, Black Ops 2, yeah.
Clan
okay.
Wars. Do you remember Clan Wars and Ghost?
Well, to be honest, I stopped playing COD around about Black Ops 2 through to Jetpacks. I didn't pick up another COD until they brought out the remastered version of Modern Warfare. So,
oh wow,
I missed out on the golden era of Black Ops 2 ranked play. Unfortunately,
you did.
Yes.
It was. I think that was like the most fun I had in COD for a very long time.
I smack myself in the face every single time someone brings it up. Not too happy about it. So
Well, they brought it back as backwards compatibility on Xbox One,
yeah,
but
I
it
know,
was
but that
just.
means I've got to get an Xbox, and I can't be bothered.
Oh, yeah. Okay, fair point.
Always been a PlayStation boy, so
Oh
yes,
no.
I know. I get that reaction a lot. So
Understandable.
yes. So Black Ops 2 into Ghost, you played with the same group of girls throughout that
Yeah,
whole time period.
slowly moved into a different community. We were just all like, it was just sort of a group of friends that just literally grinded clan wars, and we had ended up with like the red clan tag, which meant like you're one of the better ones.
Oh really?
That was proudest achievement. And then yeah, not long after that it was Does Play in AW, and
Yes, that's another thing that.
slowly.
Yeah, it's another thing that I missed out on as well. The DOS play era. I mean, always a lurker back then. That was when I turned like 18, and obviously I tried to
Okay.
enjoy my younger years, I guess. And
Yeah.
yeah, I missed out on all of that. So the DOS play era, I've heard that was, I don't know, that was like the pinnacle of ANZ COD or ANZ anything really. Just how good they ran their stuff back then.
I guess so. I mean, because that's when I started. I sort of became friends with the people I'm friends with now. So it was nice to have that sort of community feel. And like I went to a LAN. I've been to the 2 Brisbane LANs this year, and I feel like I don't know anyone anymore. It's changed so much.
Do you think that's got a lot to do with having no regional support for a couple of years? So it's kind of everyone dropped off. There was nothing through World War II, nothing really through Black Ops 4 until the first Brisland. It's kind of like a few familiar faces come in, and I don't
Yeah,
know.
I
Do you
think
think
to a
that's?
degree.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's also we've sort of all grown up and moved on to jobs and families and all sorts of things. And a lot of younger players, I think, just are coming through with the online scene. But
Yep.
there was a really good turnout for the last 2 LANs, regardless. Like I
Mhm.
played the first one, and there was a surprising amount of people.
Yep. I think the first one was it 14 or 16? They hit the 16. Can't remember
I have a
exactly.
feeling.
I think they did. I think we actually took the 16th spot right at the last second, and Hamish basically said, "Yes, please, just
Yeah.
give me 4 even pools of 4, and I'll be happy." So I think that's how
Yeah.
it. I think that's how. And the last one had 14. Am I right or wrong? Something like that.
I only spectated that one, so I'm not
Mhm.
entirely sure. But the setup was okay. It was just like any open LAN, really. It's just
Few teething problems, I guess.
oh yeah, but
Yep.
that's expected. I mean, it was well run regardless. They did have a sort of main stage, which was
For the second one.
yeah,
Yeah, that looked
for the
actually
second one.
really, really good. I really like that display. The curtain. I just actually watched that
Oh
clip
yeah.
of,
Oh,
the clip last night
that
of
was
Fred going off at the other boys, and all it was a
yeah.
curtain separating. I'm like, I don't think that's going to do much.
No, it was very painful to watch.
A little bit cringe, but that's it. They're passionate.
Yeah,
That's all
yeah.
it is. So
Just yeah, that's the word.
we'll stick to that anyway. Look, so where were we? So the Auslan, the last one. Honestly, I think there's definitely a step up from the first one. I know they had a few teething problems with the internet, from what I've heard. I wasn't there. I couldn't make both of them. First one had a few internet problems, and the second one had the same kind of thing. But
Yeah, I think we're
just
actually playing online.
for the first one.
I think so. Don't quote me
Okay.
on that. I don't remember. I was under the influence for half the games. There was a bar there. There was a bar. I mean,
Yes,
I had to
I've
take
seen
advantage of it.
I've seen plenty of photos and the aftermath of the first Brisland.
Yeah,
That was
not good.
I actually wish I was there 100%. That sucks. I missed it. But look, I suppose like when these things do happen though, and especially seeing as we haven't had much regional support for a few years, you kind of do expect these teething problems and what
Yeah.
they're doing. And I really hope the next one runs well, because I think that if they go well, it improves the scene, which means that other people want to come on board and run something similar, run something better, which creates that little bit of competition. And then
Yeah.
basically they basically just bounce off each other. So I hope they go well.
Yeah.
Are you going to the one in February or January?
Yes,
You are?
but unsure if playing. If the game does improve a little bit, I might consider it. But at the moment, I hate it. The new COD is terrible.
I've heard.
I don't know if you've played it. Have you played it?
I have been playing this one.
Oh,
Only for the search and destroy though. Search and destroy
yeah.
is fun. I think they need to tweak a little bit for the dead silence still, and the audio.
Yep.
I don't think where you can literally sit in a corner and crank your heads up to 110.
No.
is
If they
tactical.
made it a perk in the first place, it wouldn't be an issue.
I don't think they're going to though.
No,
I don't
yeah.
think they're going to revert it.
That's
So
ridiculous.
we'll get back on topic. So you obviously missed out on the scene. There was that couple of years where we kind of went through a little bit of a rough patch. We didn't really get much support. Came back. What's the community like now in comparison to what it was, say, back in the DOSplay days or back in the Jetpack era of AW Black Ops 3?
It's a lot bigger, but I don't know if it's more toxic or not. I find that back when I was playing in AW and sort of further on, I didn't cop a lot of crap for, I guess, just being a female gamer. I just found that the community was a lot, I suppose because it was older people my age, who weren't relying so much on social media for communication. Like we all just hopped in a party and played.
Yep.
But nowadays I just find it, especially with these younger players growing up with Twitter, they see other players, not necessarily players, but just people just being toxic and rude and all sorts of things, not just towards females, but anyone in general. It's because they can get away with it. But yeah, I haven't been part of the community much for the last couple of years, just because I haven't enjoyed the CODs. I think I sort of leaned towards CS a bit more and just casual streaming, I guess.
Yeah, well, that was actually my next question. So when did the transition to CS happen? Because I know you actually attended it. Was it like a CS Invitational LAN?
Yeah, it was the
a little while ago.
It's an international event. It was a Girl Gamer Festival. I'm not a fan of the name, but
Girl Gamer Festival, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they had it, I think, over in Asia. I think it started in Asia or America, and they brought it over here. And it was only there was 4 teams that played, and I was sort of a last minute fill because I was obviously I live in Sydney, and it was only in Chatswood, which is pretty much down the road from me anyway. So yeah, I just sort of filled. I said, I'm sorry, I haven't played in a very long time, but here I am.
Yep. Was it a charity event, or was it just an invitational LAN? What was the actual purpose of it? Was it, or just to get together?
It was a half LAN, half event. So they had a few booths there. It wasn't huge. It wasn't like PAX or anything. But they had a main arena sort of thing where they held the LAN. So they had CS, Overwatch, and I think something else. I think they had one other game. But I suppose CS was the main event there because they held the Overwatch event, the LAN somewhere else down the road at an internet cafe, I think it was, and that wasn't. Yeah. So CS was the main thing, and it was fun for the most part. But being it's the first time in Australia, I just think it was, as you were saying before about the other LANs, just teething problems, and I suppose I've never actually held a gaming event at this place before as well, which is new.
Was that the FBI gaming lounge? Is that what it was? Chatswood? Is that the one?
Yeah, that's where they had the Overwatch games.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No problem. All right. So basically, was that your only CS:GO event so far, or?
I've played online leagues.
Okay. Yep.
Mostly just as a support fill sort of role, just because it's hard to dedicate your time when you're shift working.
Yep, 100%. Well, do you think your future is in CS:GO, or do you think you'll eventually come back to COD, or does it kind of depend on how the COD games come out to make your decision?
I don't know. I'm happy playing CS because the game's consistent. I mean, they're obviously updating and changing things constantly, but the game's been out for years. So how much more different can it get? You know, they buff and nerf the guns occasionally when they feel like it, and they change some of the maps. But it's a game you can always get back on, and you sort of remember how to play. COD's the same, but the new COD's I just not a fan.
Do you think that's maybe something that COD should look into? I don't think they ever will. I think Activision know that they're on a gold mine in COD. Do you think they would ever adapt like some kind of cycle where even just a 2-year cycle, 3-year cycle, where they just dedicate a full 2-3 years just to improving the game, getting it to a good competitive standpoint, and then leaving it that, and then basically rolling out another update every 3 years with where Treyarch come in and they bring out their version? Do you think that's what they probably need? I don't think they'll ever do it.
I think they need it. I think there's so much to improve on in every single game they've released.
Yep.
except I think Black Ops 2 is the best. But anyway, yes, even World War 2, IW. I don't have PTSD from that game.
You didn't like World War Two?
No,
Really?
no.
I thought that was probably
I
one
was
of the better
excited
ones.
for. I think solely just because I was playing on terrible net. Still back then, I
Okay.
was living out bush, so
Yep.
still had not NBN, and it was a
Yeah.
bit of a struggle. But I wouldn't blame it on that. I just didn't
Hmm.
like the gameplay, I guess.
I think pubs really do determine how good a Call of Duty is. If pubs go well, kind of transitions into competitive too, makes the game fun because I suppose you can't play competitive all the time. You have to kind of kick back, play a few pubs every now and then. But if the pubs suck, then that's kind of the defining feature of any COD, I think.
Yeah. That's very much like Modern Warfare at the moment. I can't stand one game. I get in, I get shot or die to a claymore, and I leave.
Yep.
I can't do it. It's
Mhm.
torture.
Yeah, I think especially now that they've brought in the CDL, like the franchising league, the issue with COD rolling out every year is you have the beta, then you have the initial launch where the initial launch where everyone is so excited for the game. There's no problems ever in a Call of Duty for the first week, and then the problems start surfacing, and then we kind of go through that rough patch of about 2-3 months where they're constantly rolling out updates, patches, fixes, bugs, everything, which basically cuts off a third of the time spent in an entire Call of Duty season fixing things.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, it'll never happen. I think that's probably the best thing that COD can do, but I don't think that's the case. So not a fan of Modern Warfare. Black Ops 2 is your favorite game.
Yeah.
I'm a fan. Did you play much of the remaster when they brought it back for backwards compatibility?
I tried, but every second game, so I'd get on for pubs and then I'd jump into some league play and I'd get DOSed, hacked, booted off every other game. So I just gave up.
Yeah,
my
standard.
Xbox account got hacked off it, so I haven't touched it since. It was enjoyable, don't get me wrong, it was very fun, but it was so buggy and it wasn't nearly as enjoyable as it was back on Xbox 360. Oh well.
Sucks. Oh well. Look, let's keep our fingers crossed that they bring out a decent one eventually.
I just want them to remaster that and fix it just properly. I'll be happy.
What they should just do is they should stick to Modern Warfare remastered, and then eventually every say 12 months they bring out the Modern Warfare 2 maps and then the Modern Warfare 3 maps, and then it's like slowly just nitpick at that. They should have left it at that. That would have been perfect. COD 4 is the greatest game ever made in Call of Duty standpoint, I think.
As an older player, I suppose you can say that. They could, but at the same time, I think COD's adapted to not so much playstyle. Like they brought out jetpacks, and I think they're just trying to do something different. And I didn't mind AW. I like for a jetpack game, I kind of enjoyed it, but even then, it was probably one of the better jetpack games. Black Ops 3 was a little bit iffy, but I suppose they're just going to change it. Oh God.
Yeah. We'll try and get away from the COD talk for a little bit. We're probably both going through PTSD right now.
Yeah. It's no better on land, by the way.
Really? Okay.
No.
Well, not looking for. Well, that's
It's a dead game anyway. It's fine.
No comment. No comment. So next thing that I kind of wanted to touch base with was the mix of your career being a nurse, and obviously you have been known for your streams and gaming and stuff. I'll start off by asking, how long have you been in nursing for?
When did I graduate high school? About 2 years after high school, so 2012 to 2014 I started nursing. 2013 I started my degree, and a year after that I became, I guess, an assistant nurse. So oh my God, how many years is that? What year is it? About 6 years I have been in the hospital system nursing, I guess.
For 6 years. Does that include like some form of internship or anything like that, or like work placement or something through uni?
Yeah, I finished my degree 2000. Oh my God, I can't even think right now. Okay, so I finished my new graduate, which is a full year of. Basically, it's sort of like an internship, but you're registered after your degree, and you get a little bit of extra support and training and all sorts of things. So I'm almost a third year, so I'm a year out of that pretty much. So I'm second year merging sort of into third year in 2020.
As like just degree qualified, so basically
Yeah.
no more studies. That's it.
None.
You're in your career. This is it.
Yeah, this is it.
Okay, I'll ask a question.
Mhm.
Bit controversial.
Okay.
What's more annoying, patients or people on Twitter?
Oh, it depends on the circumstance. It depends. I mean, I can sort of justify people, patients, family members, all sorts of things being rude or frustrating to deal with to a degree. I mean, if you're in pain, you're sick, you're unwell, you're probably not going to be in the best mood. I can understand that, and I'll do my best to make you feel as good as you can.
Yeah, of course.
But if you're just coming at me on Twitter, like, I think my block list is over 70 at this point.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
I just don't need to deal with it. I'm too tired. Okay.
That's fair enough. No, that's fair enough. I think my strategy, I just like their comments and then just post something funny. I think if you take the piss out of yourself, they can't take the piss out of you. So
Yeah.
it kind of backfires on them a little bit. It's been working so far. I don't have anyone blocked, I don't think. So
Oh,
let's hope I never have to.
yeah.
I'm sure
I just think it's funny. Like, if you're trying to insult me, what based on what? What issue does these people have with me? I mean, the term e-girl is thrown around a lot, and honestly, I just don't care.
Do you like the term e-girl?
Um,
I don't think. I mean, yeah. Sorry, you go.
Sorry. I didn't originally. I suppose it's sort of owned it now with Pipo Ping's new org. We'll
Yep.
just like, well, screw you guys. If you're gonna call us an ego, okay, that's what we are.
Yep.
Are you an e-boy? Because you
No.
play games?
No, I think you're just someone who likes playing video games. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
think that really matters. I mean, yeah. I mean, the term e-girl is definitely got some kind of negative connotations to it. But I suppose
Yeah.
if you just do it just for kind of embrace it, I guess.
Yeah.
Nothing really more that people can do to bring you down anymore. I guess they can try. So
Just here for a good time.
so you think dependent on the situation, both as annoying as each other, and they're both fine as well to a certain degree.
Yeah. I've made a lot of good friends in the community,
Hmm.
so I can't complain about that.
Yeah, I suppose any community you're gonna have some negative relations to it, and there's gonna be some negativity thrown around. But I suppose the people that you do find yourself interacting with, for instance, when we had that blackout tournament, everyone in that tournament that day was fantastic. So, and the community can band together for some good things every now and then. So
That's what I thought about the other charity event.
What was the other charity event? Was that the
Sony Foundation one.
Oh yes, okay.
That was hell.
We won't dive too much into that. I avoided that on the last podcast with Kane.
Yeah.
Stick to it. I think it's in the past. We've just got to
Oh yeah.
take it as it was, and that's it. So a little bit touchy, I think.
Yeah. Oh, that's okay. It was a long time ago. I think we all moved past it. It was
100%.
just, yeah. Especially on our end, there was so many things left unsaid, and yeah, it's just well into the past. And I just wish we had a little bit more support. But
I think there was probably a little bit of lack of transparency there from a lot of people, a lot of parties. I mean, it could have been handled so much better. It's just a shame. I think the end result was a shame, in my opinion, just the way that it all ended. So, but like I said, we won't dive too much into that. So how do you find the balance with gaming and nursing?
it's rough. It's hard. I mean, like, if I were 9 to 5, I think I'd be able to hop on after work and just chill. But I guess you finish a shift. I'll finish my shift tomorrow at 7:30 a.m. I'll finish at 10 p.m. I'll finish at 7 p.m. I'll finish at 3:30 p.m. And it varies every day. And as much, my free days are really either I'm back home seeing my family or I'm just trying to relax casually. And it's just, especially with streaming, I find it so hard to actually find the energy to get on.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, it's not a normal job. Like, you're putting all of your energy, like, you're emotionally, physically, everything drained because you're looking after a certain amount of people for 8 hours a day, and you come home and you're like, I don't want to talk to anyone.
Yeah,
I don't want to do anything. But yeah, it's all right. I mean, I'm happy. I think it's sort of like it's a good hobby to have, but there's just some days it's just I don't think it's too healthy, especially
Yeah,
when you hop onto CS or League and
yep. You got
the
someone,
the
yeah, the
negativity just follows you
toxicity
there.
comes out. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Look, is that just like a nature of your role? Like, is that, or is that just the nature of nursing, just the split shifts? Like, you don't have a set, like, rostered hours, like you said, 9 to 5, and this is kind of shift work where you just, here's your 2 weeks, you're finishing at 1 a.m., and then 2, 3 days later, you're finishing at 1 p.m. So, is that just the
Yeah.
nature of, is that the nature of just your role, or is that just the nature of nursing in general?
Mostly nursing in general, especially working in a hospital. I mean, there's obviously roles you can do that are 9 to 5 if you work in a doctor's clinic or if you're, I suppose, a manager, like in a managerial position.
Hmm?
But yeah, it's just while I'm young, I guess, and getting more experience, I will be doing shift work for probably the next decade or so.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, unfortunate, but I mean, I suppose if there's something that you 100% want to do, you have to make these sacrifices, don't you? I
The
mean,
penalty rates.
penalty rates are good.
Yeah,
All right, well, well, I can't
so
blame you
I
then.
think.
Well, you're one of the only roles now that keep penalty rates. I mean, there's so many jobs now they
Yeah,
just cut them back. So
I don't understand why. I mean, I'm working Christmas
you're working
night shift,
on Christmas Day night shift, Christmas night.
Christmas night. So if I didn't get
Wow.
penalty rates, I wouldn't show up. What's the
Yeah, that's
point?
true. Yeah, I suppose people are probably a little bit more, a little bit more upset that they're in a hospital. So
Yeah.
kind of feel for them, feel for the nurses as well. But look, I mean, that's a, I don't know. I mean, I think you would have to have incredible patience to be a nurse. My girlfriend's mother was a nurse for 20 years or something like that, and the
Yeah.
patience that I think you have to have just for dealing with people.
Yeah.
And like you said, they kind of can't help it in a way, but I mean, I think the level of patience is through the roof. You would,
Yeah. I suppose it sometimes you can sort of you can stand up for yourself. There's some shifts where so we have a sort of team leader slash um in charge sort of role, and I find that as good, especially as a younger nurse, you sort of learn to stand up for yourself, and you can not argue back, but you can put people in their place and be like,
yeah,
"That's not appropriate," or "This isn't okay. You can't talk to me like that. You can't treat me like that," which is more frequent than people realize because we're everything gets taken out on us because we're spending 24/7 with this person or
yeah,
these people, and they see the doctors for 5 minutes, they see the kitchen staff for 30 seconds, they see a pharmacist for 5 minutes, but we're there 24/7. So
yeah.
if the food's bad, it's our fault.
It's
If the
your
doctor
fault.
hasn't done it, it's our fault. Everything's our fault. So you sort of, if you don't have patience, you shouldn't be doing it, but
Yeah.
you learn that you can't do or say anything that's out of line, otherwise you lose your job. So
Yeah, 100%. How much training goes into that though? Kind of teaching you guys how to deal with, I suppose, what worst case scenarios where someone is just uncontrollable. How much training goes into dealing with, I suppose, dealing with that backlash that you get as a nurse?
none.
None. So it's all just kind of
None.
thrown in the deep end.
Yeah.
Deal with it as you go.
Yeah, I mean, every circumstance is different. So if you're dealing with an aggressive patients, we can do it. We're not supposed, we don't generally are forced into it, but there's a course you can do that's self-defense, getting out of certain holds and de-escalating physical situations. But by the time that happens, usually security's up. Because
Yeah.
I had a night shift a few weeks ago where I was hit and grabbed, and a few of my other staff members were also hit as well. And this is purely trying to wait, it's taking four of us to pin someone down until security comes. And it's becoming more and more frequent, and I don't think people realize the extent of what we actually have to go through. So if
Yeah.
I'm ever complaining or whinging about work, it's me venting, because it's very if you don't talk about it, you lose your mind.
Oh, 100%.
We go, yeah, it's
That's rough.
a tough role, but
That's actually a little bit surprising. I mean, when you do think of other public jobs, like, I suppose if you're a police officer or something like that, they have to deal with, they have to be taught how to deal with certain situations and certain people. So I think, do you think you think it should be kind of compulsory that they should have something like that in nursing? I mean, to me, that's really surprising. I mean, you're dealing with people, you're dealing with so many, I don't know, negative situations and put in these certain spots where you wouldn't expect yourself to be in, and you haven't had any training. It's essentially get thick skin, deal with it, and learn as you go. Really,
That's sort of it. Everything comes with experience, especially in our career. I find that most of what I know didn't come from uni. It came from all my placements throughout uni and basically working in a hospital, because it's surprising how often you come across these negative situations, and if there's always someone more senior than you, which is always comforting. So no matter what, there's going to be someone there, and you've always got support, which is what I enjoy about the career, is that you become such good friends with everyone, all the doctors and most of the doctors, and the staff. So, and security, which we tend to see a lot.
Kind of bounce off each other from talking about the certain situation that's happened.
Yeah.
That kind of your like that's your support group then. So that's who you can vent to, and you all know what just happened. Like you were all just there for that certain situation, so something to bounce off of.
We debrief very often, so we're very lucky. I've got a very good boss as well, who's always up for a chat if you need anything. So if you don't have that support, then you're screwed pretty much.
You 100% have my respect. I don't think I could ever do a job like that. 100.
It's not so bad.
My line of work, I don't really deal with many people. I mean, outside of the whole gaming organization thing, I don't really deal with many people, and the odd chance that I do, and I get that one that just rubs me up the wrong way, I don't react that well sometimes. But
it's okay.
I mean, if you have to do that potentially day in day out, that's in. I don't think.
I think it's just a very misunderstood career. For the most part, it's good, but I think sometimes if you have a bad day, it's usually very bad.
Yep.
But
I suppose with everything though, everything that's negative that's positive, you also help. Fantastic. Look, well, just want to know what's next. Just career and then gaming on the side. Or do you have any aspirations to try and pick up the streaming a little bit if you do kind of get into a bit more of a rostered schedule or something like that, or is it just take it day by day?
I think in the new year, I do want to try and stream a little bit more. I want to get back into it, especially with competitive CS. But yeah, I suppose coming up to Christmas just been so busy and stressful. And yeah, I would love to stay around in esports for a little bit. And I love attending events and playing and doing everything to do with that. But yeah, it's more of a day by day thing.
Yeah,
I'll figure it out.
You managed to find some time to go down to PAX, didn't you, down in Melbourne?
Yeah, the one event I didn't work for a few years.
Well, there you go.
This is nice. I was actually on a panel instead.
I saw that. What was the panel about?
Mental health.
Fantastic. Good timing too.
Yeah.
And we just had that. We had that blackout tournament a couple of weeks before that, didn't we?
Was it before or after? Before?
When's Mental Health Awareness Week? Is that in September?
Oh, I wouldn't remember.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, there is a stigmatism in gaming as well in mental health. I think that, I suppose it's with everything still. We are kind of still learning a lot about mental health.
Yeah.
Who else was involved in that panel?
So there was Jen, who's a doctor. Leisha, who was a med student. I can't remember the other names. I have it somewhere. There's a picture somewhere on Twitter, and there was a whole group conversation.
Okay.
Yeah, there was another guy who was a streamer and who was heavily involved in, I think, mental health streams and charity events and such. And there was a ex-Defence Force abrupt dragon who also, I think, felt quite strongly about it, and who was also a streamer. So, yeah, no, it's good. Very surprising at the turnout, though.
Really?
Yeah. I got there, I was really early because I didn't know where to go, and I was half an hour early, and there was already over, I think, 100 people lined up already, and I was like, are they here for us?
Wow, that's actually so good.
Yeah, it was incredible. I was actually terrified, but yeah, it was good.
I mean, do you think, as streamers and content creators as well, that you do kind of put yourself into that situation where you will get people to come up to you and want to try and express their feelings as well because they kind of see you as an outlet, a support group, suppose like a role model figure or something like that. Do you think that there is that that's kind of part of being a streamer, part of the job?
To a degree, I think more people tend to lean towards, say, what one of the other girls, the med student, Leisha, and myself, because we work in healthcare and they're sort of expecting advice, which I'm more than happy to help, but at the same time, it's very hard to do your job, maintain a social life, maintain a stream, relax between that, and help people in the community as well. But I'm more than happy to direct people in the right direction. But it's very hard, sort of. I am a healthcare professional, but I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist. It's not my job. But I mean, you can always help in other ways. So more than happy to do that.
Happy to give advice, but I think if you are really struggling, there are obviously professional outlets that you really should be getting in contact with. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes.
Fantastic. Well, I think that that about wraps it up, to be honest. I mean, you don't have anything to say, anything on the topic of mental health that you want to kind of touch base on, or?
No.
I think it's pretty much all been said. Perfect. No worries. Well, thank you so much for coming on board.
Thank you.
Hopefully we'll get another one down the track soon enough. Hopefully we get more live events. Do maybe a podcast as in a live setting rather than over Discord. That would be good. Well, I guess that's it.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Merry Christmas.
You too.
Happy New Year, and enjoy working on Christmas Day.
Oh, I won't. Thank you.
All right, no problem. Take it easy.
You too.
Thanks, guys. Thank you very much for watching.